Here's something the motorcycle industry doesn't want you thinking about. The gap between a $15,000 bike and a $30,000 bike has never been smaller. Suspension, brakes, electronics, the good stuff has trickled down. And one bike on this list wears the exact same suspension as machines costing double. Most riders walk right past it. Number 6. Honda CB1000 Hornet SP. $10,999. Read that again because on paper, this price makes no sense. You're getting a liter, class inline 4 pulled from the Fireblade family, an Öhlins rear shock, and Brembo Stylema front calipers. Those are the same calipers you'll find on Ducatis, costing north of $25,000. Honda essentially built a superbike adjacent naked and priced it like a middleweight. Around 150 horsepower moves this thing, and here's what that means in the real world. Highway merges become an afterthought. You roll on in 4th gear at 70 miles per hour and the bike just leaves. No downshifting, no drama. That flexible, inline 4 character is what riders used to pay big money for, and honestly, this is the one bike on this list I'd put my own money down on tomorrow. Ask anyone on the Hornet forums and you'll hear the same story. Riders cross shopping the BMW S1000R, which starts around $14,000, before you touch the options list. Keep landing on the Honda instead. Spec the BMW with comparable suspension and brakes and you're staring at 18 grand. The Hornet gives you 90% of that experience and leaves $7,000 in your pocket. Now the honest part. The dash is functional but basic, and the stock quick shifter can feel clunky at low revs. Some owners also wish the front fork matched the quality of that Öhlins rear. Fair criticism. But here's the real question. Would you pay $8,000 extra just for a prettier screen? Because that's essentially the choice. This bike made the list because it's the clearest example in 2026 of flagship hardware at half price. Nothing else comes close to pure component value. Number 5. Suzuki GSX-S1000 GT+. Here's the problem with sport touring in 2026. The bikes everyone dreams about, the BMW R1300 RT, the top-spec Kawasaki H2SX, sit between $25,000 and $30,000 once you option them out. Most working riders simply can't justify that for weekend trips. Suzuki looked at that problem and answered with the GSX-S1000 GT Plus at around $14,500, hardside cases included. Underneath sits the legendary K5-derived GSX-R 1000 engine, one of the most bulletproof power plants ever built. 150 horsepower, but tuned fat in the mid-range, which matters way more than a peak number when you're 2 up with luggage climbing a mountain pass. 6th gear at 80 miles per hour, plenty in reserve, all-day comfort. You also get cruise control, a quick shifter, a full-color TFT display, and lean-sensitive electronics. 10 years ago, that package lived exclusively on $25,000 flagships. There's a reason the sport touring forums call this the thinking rider's bargain. Owners routinely report crossing 40,000 miles with nothing beyond routine maintenance. The catch? When protection is decent, not great, and taller riders will want the accessory touring screen, the suspension is also on the firm side for rough back roads. Personally, I think that's a fair trade because that firmness is exactly why this thing handles like a sport bike when the road turns twisty, something no $30,000 full-dress tourer can claim. It made this list because it delivers about 85% of a luxury sport tourer's capability for literally half the money. That math is hard to argue with. Number 4. Yamaha MT-09 SP. A buddy of mine, Tess, rode one of these last spring, planning to buy a European naked. He came back from the demo loop, handed over the keys, and put a deposit on the Yamaha the same afternoon. That's the effect this bike has on people. The MT-09 SP is the version of Yamaha's Hyper Naked where they stopped cutting corners. Fully adjustable, KYB front fork, an Öhlins rear shock, cruise control, and that 890 cubic centimeters CP3 triple that might be the most charismatic engine under 15 grand. around 117 horsepower in a bike weighing under 425 pounds wet. In the real world, that ratio means it launches out of corners harder than bikes with 30 more horsepower because you actually use all of it. Price? Right around $12,500. Compare that to the KTM 890 Duke R territory, and the Yamaha undercuts it while carrying a dramatically better reliability record. The MT owner community is massive for a reason, and the running joke on the forums is that the hardest part of ownership is keeping the front wheel down. I'll be straight with you though. The stock seat is thin, and after 2 hours you'll be shifting around looking for relief. The riding position also leans sporty, so if you want a couch, look elsewhere on this list. Why it's here? Because Öhlins suspension on a sub $13,000 motorcycle used to be fantasy. This is premium European hardware wrapped around Japanese reliability, and that combination is exactly what $30,000 bikes promise and rarely deliver. And speaking of promises, the next bike is the one I teased at the start. Same suspension brand as machines costing double, hiding in plain sight. Number 3, Kawasaki Z900RS SE. This is where the list gets controversial. Retro bikes usually mean paying extra for style. The Z900RS SE flips that completely. $14,449 gets you the yellow ball tank everyone photographs, plus an Öhlins rear shock, Brembo front brakes, and a gold fork that isn't just cosmetic, it's genuinely upgraded internals. Now think about what people pay for that vintage look elsewhere. A BMW R9T with comparable equipment pushes past 18 grand, and custom builds channeling this same 70s vibe regularly cross $30,000 at auction. Kawasaki hands you the finished product with a factory warranty. The 948cc inline 4 is tuned for torque down low, and that translates to a bike that pulls cleanly from 2,000 revolutions per minute in any gear. City riding becomes effortless. No clutch slipping, no hunting for the power band. And the intake howl from that airbox is honestly worth the price of admission alone. Owners are famously loyal, and used examples hold value better than almost anything in the segment. Check the listing and you'll see 3-year-old bikes selling within a couple $1,000s of original MSRP. Weak points? It exists. The bike is heavier than modern nakeds at around 470 pounds, and the dash is old school analog with a small LCD, no TFT here. Some riders love that. If you want screens and apps, this isn't your machine. In my opinion, this is the best looking motorcycle Kawasaki builds, full stop. It made the list because the SE package delivers hand-built custom bike presence with superbike grade components, at half of what that combination costs anywhere else. Number 2, Triumph Speed Twin 1200. 103.5 horsepower, 83 pound-feet of torque. From a liquid-cooled 1200cc parallel twin with a 270-degree crank that sounds like money. Those numbers belong on a premium spec sheet, and the riding experience backs them up. That torque figure means overtakes happen with a flick of the wrist in top gear, no downshift required. It's the kind of engine that makes every ride feel expensive. The 2026 Speed Twin 1200 starts at $15,395. Now here's the comparison that matters. Riders shopping this bike are usually cross-shopping, something like a BMW R12, or dreaming about a Thruxton-style cafe build, and both paths land well north of 20 grand once you're done. The Speed Twin gives you genuine British character, modern electronics, and handling, sharp enough to embarrass sport bikes on a back road, all in one purchase. There's a reason reviewers keep calling this the best all-rounder Triumph makes. It commutes, it carves, it tours in a pinch, and it looks fantastic parked outside a coffee shop. Do everything. Bikes usually feel like compromise bikes. This one doesn't, and honestly, that's rare. The downside is real though. The suspension on the base model is on the basic side, non-adjustable up front, and aggressive riders will find its limits. The RS version fixes that, but jumps to nearly 17 grand, which starts eroding the value argument. It earned its spot here because it nails the intangible part of the $30,000 feeling: fit, finish, sound, and character. Plenty of bikes match its specs. Very few match its presence. Number 1, Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. Picture this. You're at a bike night and someone rolls in on a low-slung cruiser with a gorgeous teardrop tank, wire wheels, and chrome that catches every light in the parking lot. People assume it's a $15,000 or $20,000 machine. Then the owner mentions it cost about $7,000 out the door, and the whole conversation changes. That's the Super Meteor 650 experience. Royal Enfield built this around their sweetheart, 648 cubic centimeters parallel twin, and while 47 horsepower sounds modest, this engine is all about how it delivers. Smooth, unstressed, happy at 75 miles per hour all day. It's the anti-anxiety motorcycle. And the chassis was developed with Harris Performance, the same firm that built Grand Prix frames, which is why this thing corners with a confidence that shocks first-time riders. Here's the comparison nobody wants to say out loud. A Harley-Davidson Sportster S costs around $16,000. Is it faster? Absolutely. But the forums are full of newer riders who cross-shopped both and walked out with the Enfield plus $7,000 for gear, insurance, and gas money. For relaxed cruising, the actual experience gap is far smaller than the price gap. Flaws, sure. It's heavy for its power at around 530 pounds, so it's not quick off the line, and the mirrors are mediocre. If you need a highway passing punch, this isn't it. But I'd argue no bike on this list delivers a bigger feel to price ratio. The fit and finish genuinely rivals bikes at triple the cost, and that's exactly why it closes this list. So does half the money really buy the $30,000 feeling? On these 6, yes, and the industry knows it. If I had to pick just one, my money goes to the Honda CB1000 Hornet SP. Nothing else touches that hardware at that price. Which of these 6 would you actually park in your garage? Drop it in the comments and subscribe if you want the honest version of motorcycle buying.